Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Armada Red Alert and a Long Arm. And here they are, and I really like these guys. These guys are like quintessential Armada toys. We're going to take a look at Red Alert really quick while he's in vehicle mode, and then we'll move on to Long Arm. So here is Red Alert. He is this medical SUV sort of thing, sort of like movie-esque, like the 2007 movie-esque sort of thing. Not really like a typical ambience like he is in like G1 and how he is modernly depicted. He's this sort of whatever. I don't really know what you'd call it. Medical Jeep. I don't really know. But it looks really cool. I love the look of it. Love the detailing here at the front. Would have been awesome if they could have put like a winch on there. Just would have tied the whole thing together of the aesthetic and everything. But big pinned wheels with nice bronze used for the rims, and you can see some like suspension detail in there, kind of. It's shadows kind of in there, but there's some like suspension work detail. It's just like non-specific. Obviously you see his feet back there, but that's not that big a deal. Obviously, other than his colors and like the light bar up here, there's not really. And if you were to get rid of this like Red Cross thing, and then get rid of like that, he'd just be sort of like a white, Jeep off-road thing or whatever. But it's still really cool. It's just a big, dumb, fun toy. You just drive through the mud or whatever. It's just a fun, cool, just big toy. And I just really like that about him. So yeah, so let's bring in Long Arm, and we'll take a look at him really quick. I love Long Arm. You guys should know by now that I absolutely love big industrial, like cranes, excavators, earth-moving equipment, stuff like that. Obviously, he's not big, but he emulates that with just the kind of crane that he is, seeing all the little spots, like the triangles and everything, the bracing pieces for the boom arm, and then the hook just looks super cool. Love the little bits of silver right there, and a little bit of silver here on the cab. Obviously you can see his head right there, but whatever. Mine's arms has gotten a little bit of loose, so they're like, drooping or whatever, but you can see that nice diamond plate texture on the bottom, and just for how tiny this little guy is, I just absolutely love him. As you can see, he can rotate, and then this can move up and down quite a bit, and then the hook can hinge forward and back. So yeah, he just looks, I just love Long Arm. Just super, super fun little toy. So let's bring Red Alert back in so we can do his gimmicks. Sorry, mine shut off. So just gonna fold up the boom really quick just so it's easier to do. I can't remember what all he does. We'll wait for this up here. This will, if you can't tell, these will open up and a disc will shoot out, so we'll wait till robot mode for that. But this, I can't remember if it will flip out this gun right here. It does that in robot mode, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know if it'll just make the noises, so we'll find out together. It's been quite a long time since I messed with this guy. I basically got all this parts together and then just sat him on the shelf, so that's really all I did. So I think that if you go back, if you can see the gun raise, I guess that's what it does. But forward, I think I might have taken the batteries out of him, so we might not get anything. Well, I don't think you're going to see any lights because I think I took the batteries out of him, but you can see, moves back, and it probably flips out the gun, moves forward, and this will probably light up. So I apologize. I completely forgot I took the batteries out of this guy. I'm pretty sure I took the batteries out of him, so we're just not going to worry about that. So let's transform Long Arm really quick since we're here, and he'll be super simple because you just flip the feet around, and then you just fold that back up, and I just like to move his arms like that just so you can see his arms a little bit more, and there he is. So let's put him off the side now, and we'll work on Red Alert. So very simple. There's not too much to this guy. Kind of just break him apart, just separate some of these panels and whatnot, and all this, and there goes this little thing, and we'll just set that down right there, and we'll deal with the arms mainly first. So we'll swing out the doors, and then you'll just rotate them up, and then you can see the arms right here. You fold them out and then swing them down, and do the same thing over here, like so. And I'll quick raise the camera, like so. So now we have the legs. So because it's connected to all this back here, you have to separate that, and now you can bring the waist down all the way. And now we can unplug this and then flip down the feet, flip out the heel like this, and there are the legs all done and everything. And now if it hasn't already happened, the windshield will come down, open it up, flip out the head, flip that back down, get all this situated, this all pressed against the back, like so. Get them all straightened out, spin the head around, and then this, he has two of these. I most certainly lost the other one. They go in the, I think it's this side. Yeah, they go right there to store in these little C-shaped little clip things. So, and it just fell out. So this will just go in his hand. And here he is. It's just super, super simple transformation. Not super difficult at all. You know, typical Armada stuff. Lower the camera a tiny bit. You know, super, super, you know, it's Armada. You know, what do you expect? You don't expect too much with these toys. They're really, they're built around their gimmicks, and there's nothing wrong with them because this guy's got a ton of them. On this leg, you can see this little transparent thing. You know, he's got this little thingamadoo, you know, whatever it does. I don't know what it does. But just something cool to have. Now we can just straighten it back out. Now we can come back here, and now we can flip up the gun. So I'm not going to transform him back. Actually, yeah, I'll just do that really quick. So now just plug him back in, and now you can watch the gun flip out. Sorry. See the gun flip out, and I think that's really cool. I just really like it. It's just super, super fun. And then now he has like a shoulder cannon, and everything. I don't think he uses his gun like this in the show. I think it just always flips up, and then he like grabs it. And so this is like really loose, so I like to just pinch it and slow and carefully pull it out, because this is, you know, all this brown like structure is just really, you know, thin, and I don't want to like, you know, basically break it just by like wrenching on this. So I just take it a little slow, and there. I am missing the missile, but you know, I'm missing a bunch of things. And then you could take that other little transparent nub or whatever and put it right there. So yeah, I really like that. The gun doing that is really, you know, not too isn't intrusive, and I just really like that. You know, it's not intrusive, it doesn't hurt anything, and it's a great way to store his gun. I just really like the way that works, and I should have left him in vehicle mode, because now we're gonna do this gimmick, and I'll point it over here. So now it's popped open, and you can see that disc sitting in there. So now let's pull it back, and you could just, oh, now it's on the floor. But you could see it flew out, and I don't know how many he came with originally, but I only have the one. He might have just came with the one, but you know, it's not like Depth Charge where he has like a big cassette in him where you can just like shoot like 5 of them. It's just the one, unfortunately. But then you know, just like Depth Charge, he'd get really deep, or he'd get like super like fat, you know, even more disproportionate than he already is. But yeah, once again, another fun thing. And really, even though he doesn't transform super elegantly, he still does have a fairly good amount of articulation. You got a head, you know, you can do a little bit with the head, but you got full 360. You have full 360 with the arms. Oops. And that's another thing, is that I lost one of the arms for a long time because they're not pinned. They're just these friction joints. They can go out. He does have a bicep swivel, and then he has a double jointed elbow due to transformation, and I don't know, he doesn't have a wrist swivel. He doesn't have a waist swivel, obviously, but he can kick forward, and he can't kick back because this whole thing's back here. His legs can't go out any more than that. He has a below the knee swivel. He has a knee bend. He has forward and no back with that ankle, but he has a little bit of forward. So really, for his time, especially the toys he was being sold with, he's not too bad. He's not too bad, like badly articulated. I think he has the best minicon, in my personal opinion. Best looking, best transforming. I don't own all of them, but I think he's the best. But yeah, he's just a solid toy all around. I don't know how much this guy goes for. I've had this guy for a long, long time. So I can't say how much this guy is on the aftermarket, how difficult he is to get your hands on. I do think that this is the Takara version because I own the Takara instructions for this, but I may be wrong. Someone, can point out like a deco change or, molding difference. I don't know. I'm just assuming that because I have instructions of the Takara version of this toy. So this may be the Takara version, not the US one. Who knows? I don't know. But I don't really care. But either way, it's just a really nice, solid toy. He's got a lot of articulation, not by today's standards, but by his standards of his time. He had a lot of articulation, excluding maybe like Bendy Prime, the Deluxe Optimus Prime. Other than that, and maybe some like small exceptions, he's probably one of the most articulated toys in the entire Armada toy line. And even though he's very kibbly, just has junk hanging off of him, I don't have a problem with it. He just looks really, this is his look, this is his look. I personally love the Cybertron Red Alert, but this is quintessential Unicron Trilogy Red Alert. If I think of Red Alert, I think of this. It's just very unmistakable. The awesome light piping in his eyes. This is the quintessential Red Alert, Unicron Trilogy wise, obviously. Literally a dude wearing car parts with like 3-4 gimmicks, and a little minicon guy. He's a very fun toy. For how much it seems that his gimmicks would intrude on him, they really don't, at least in my personal opinion. The only thing that is a little weird is just, like you saw me trying to get him in this sort of A stance, just with this kibble getting in the way with his back kibble. But really, other than that, there's not too much to complain about, at least in my opinion, over this toy. He has a look, it's up to, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I think this toy is definitely one of them. Of all of the toys in the Armada toy line, he might be a little bit more of the, to each their own kind of thing, with the car kibble, the more humanoid limbs, not a little less mechanical, more smooth and everything, especially its legs, it's to each their own, like I said. But I really like him. He's a lot of fun, love his vehicle mode, and I personally think if he had a not so cool minicon, he probably wouldn't be as well known to me as he is now, because Long Arm is just, I'm pretty sure it's Long Arm. Long Arm is just completely pulling, like 70% of the weight of this toy, because, I love toys like this. But yeah, he's just a phenomenal toy. I think he got redecoed into something. I don't know what it was, like the Unicron battles or whatever, but still a fine deco, really good toy. I personally, if you're not an Armada fan or you're just not infatuated with this toy, it's probably a skip. But if you love Armada, if you love the Unicron trilogy, or you just love a fun, dumb toy like he is, he's worth it. He's worth it to own. He's just a phenomenal, awesome toy to be able to own. He's just a joy to have, and You know, that's really it. Just he's a joy. He puts the J in joy. Definitely. You know, he's just happy all around, and that's what I like about him. And so yeah, so that's really all I have to say. So till next time, see ya.